بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. We continue with the Polygyny Series, and it's getting a lot of heat obviously because it's an uncomfortable thing, but I'm going to get straight into the issue because we're going to go into now slowly into the issue of fairness and so on. So first and foremost, again, we need to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة. All you who believe, enter in Islam, in the faith, fully. Okay, you have to fully enter. So this is the objective of a Muslim, that they have to submit. That's why Islam is called submission. It's where you say, yes, I might not like this, I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm going to submit. Now that does not mean, you guys, sisters have to especially understand, does not mean we're asking you to submit to a bad man, a guy who's unfair, a guy who is committing dhulm or causing problems. Okay, that's why we need an Islamic lifestyle, an Islamic country, an Islamic place where the Muslims, the Sharia is ruling, so that the judge and can decide what is and what is not right, and people can take their rights. Right now you cannot. Right? People are saying it's not fair, but they cannot take rights. Anyway, so we're going to start talking about fairness and what is fair so that people can understand, because it's not fair what you think is fair. It's very easy to say it's not fair. The man can never do polygyny because he can never be fair. Okay, Allah does not say that. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he talks about the issue of the heart, of the love, that you can never give enough love to all of them, in terms of, like, obviously you can have someone who's preferred. For example, the Prophet ﷺ, he loved Aisha more than all, and he loved Khadija more than all, right, when she was alive. So no doubt that a man can never be fair when it comes to love, and the Prophet ﷺ explained that ayah, he explained this issue so you understand, okay, about adala and justice and so on. So we have to understand fairness from that perspective. I'll elaborate a lot more inshallah in a future episode. But right now we have to understand the issue of first, second, third, fourth wife. Because some of you said that, do you think that it's like all from the first wife perspective? It's about her, the way she feels, and about, how it looks to her. And she's the one, the judge, who decides what's fair and what's not. Of course, she's going to say her husband can never be fair. I mean, they didn't even start it, didn't even try it. But she's going to say, no, he cannot be fair. No man can be fair. What's the point of Allah giving this injunction in the first place then, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows better than you, O first wife of anyone. He knows better than you. وَمَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. And you did not give Allah His right in terms of knowing who He is. So fairness is not up to you, sister. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows better what is fairness. Okay? So the first wife is not the standard to decide, and she doesn't have all the rights. Sadly, one of the sisters put into one of the videos that this is the right that belongs to the first wife, and then you share it to other wives. No, there's no such thing as first, second, third, fourth wife in Islam. Okay, there's no such thing that one wife has more right than the other. No, that's the whole point, right? You kind of like, you're shooting your own argument down, because you just talked about fairness, and you said fairness is so important, he cannot be fair, yet you are asking and you're saying that you shouldn't be fair to the other wives, right? So you're saying that fairness is the justice and the standard in Islam, yet you're asking and you're trying to break that fairness apart. Of course, I'm not talking about all sisters, I'm just talking about some who are making certain comments, and we have to kind of trace the arguments, right? The arguments that are made so far against polygyny are very weak. Number one, they're not based on scriptures, which now, that's something clear. Number two, it's emotional. So the Sharia doesn't work, let me just summarize, the Sharia doesn't work on the emotions of the first wife. And not to mention, there's no such thing as first, second, third, fourth. When a man marries a second or a third or a fourth, they're his wives. That's it. All of them equally his wives. There's no number one in line. It's in terms of timeline. Okay, she got married in 2008, in 2011, 2015, 2020, and so on. That's a different story. But there's no such thing as someone has more haqq over their husband over no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the whole point of adala, or justice, and of fairness. There's no such thing as a hierarchy. Wife number one, she's the best, she's the this. And wife number two might be a virgin too, or number three, or number four. Okay? You do not know. So you cannot claim that I'm wife number one. I say what's fair. I say what's not fair. My husband can never be fair. That's not the correct way. So, and if you notice in the arguments, right, it all goes back down to the emotions, usually of the first wife. The second, third, fourth, because they understand the problem, usually, not all the time, some, sorry, let me use the word some. And because a lot of them are divorcees, widows, women who really had problems in their life. So now they're very thankful to be married to a husband. They're very thankful to be second, third, fourth wife. Right? Yes, some of them have problems still, no doubt. I don't say not. I'm sure you're going to blast now. Yes, they are, and I've received some messages. But in general, a lot of them have and are very thankful. Right? So we cannot, the Sharia is not based on the emotions of the first wife. The Sharia does take in consideration the emotions of women and the emotions of men. Again, we have to stop thinking everything from the perspective of women only. That women are the victims. Women are the ones who are being oppressed. And I will give a few examples that I've had to personally deal with in my counseling some families. I'm going to keep the names, of course. I'm going to try to make sure that it's not too much detail. But I want you to understand some of the brothers who are victims of psychological and physical abuse from their first wife, even before marrying a second wife. And then when they married again, because they couldn't take it anymore, because their spiritual and physical and emotional needs were not met by the first wife, then it became even more. It was hell. So we want to understand, I'm going to give you, and Allah is my witness, and it's still Ramadan right now, Allah is my witness that these cases are true, and that I've dealt with it, and I'll explain to you, inshallah, in the next session. But right now, what needs to be just said is that the Sharia doesn't function on the needs or the emotions or the desires of the first wife. Okay? Get it out of your mind. If we're Muslim, we submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we do take in consideration. A lot of sisters think that it's just like we're blasting the sisters. No, we're trying to educate. We understand that the sisters are jealous. And Aisha was jealous. She spilled the food. The wives of the Prophet were jealous. They spilled the food. Someone gave attitude even. Aisha would sometimes question the Prophet. Hafsa bint Umar radiallahu anha used to question the Prophet and give him some attitude. And he divorced her because of that. Because she divulged one of the things that he said. She divulged one of the secrets. Okay, there's no actual sahih hadith to say what. So there's some speculation, the Orientalists and people start accusing the Prophet and all kinds of stuff. Put it on her side. The Prophet divorced Hafsa because of her attitude. And Allah told her to take her back because she is the one who makes qiyam and she does fasting and she'll be your wife in Jannah. But he himself, from his perspective, he divorced her. Okay, and Umar Khattab was very upset. Okay, but we see here in the life of the Prophet the humanity. We see that they had problems. We see, subhanAllah, if you say you cannot be fair. We see here, the Prophet, for example, he would take gifts only in the house of Aisha radiallahu anha, accept gifts. And there was something, and the wives complained, and they sent Fatima radiallahu anha to speak to the Prophet. And the Prophet said, don't you love what your father loves? Now, if anyone, and these are authentic hadith, we're not talking here about something like some opinion. Okay, if anyone wants to check, please do check. Here, can anyone accuse the Prophet of not being fair? No. Sisters, the problem is that you think that you decide what is fair. You think that you are the standard as to what should be fair, and in this you're making a big mistake in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it's not. It is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَأْخُذُوا وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. What he gives you, take. What he forbids you, stay away from it. وَمَا يَنْتِكُ عَنِ الْهَوَى. He does not speak from his hawa, from his desire. So you're not the standard. With all due respect, we understand it's not easy. We understand there's emotions. We're trying to understand. We're trying to educate. We're saying if you cannot do it, you don't do it. If you cannot marry, you cannot have polygyny. I've been saying that don't get into it. Okay, if you think it's going to cause you fitna, we gave the example of Fatima. If you think you cannot do it, then don't do it. But don't say, oh, he can never be just. You're not the standard to decide what is justice and what is not. It is Allah and His Messenger. And in the next session, I will prove it to you, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.